Tonight, the ASIO boss sparks a nasty witch hunt in Canberra, revealing an unnamed politician and traitor sold out to foreign spies. Another drive-by shooting at Guildford, Sydney's gang war out of control. 2 people feared dead in this raging inferno, their neighbours in shock. The red flag that might have saved Jessie Baird, the shock revelation from a TV friend. A ferocious storm after a 40-degree scorcher in Penrith, a wild last day of summer. And the NRL takes centre stage in Vegas, helmets and all, but they won't need those.
Live from Sydney, 7 News with Mark Ferguson.
Good evening. Australia's top spy boss is under intense pressure tonight to name a former politician who he says sold out the country by selling secrets to foreign spies. Speculation is rife in Canberra and around the nation. Who is it and why haven't they been charged?
The head of ASIO will be gritting his teeth tonight over this reaction.
Well, it's outrageous. That besmirches everyone that is serving in politics or has served in politics. I mean, it is simply unacceptable.
Leading a chorus of serving and former MPs demanding ASIO boss Mike Burgess name the former politician he's revealed was compromised by foreign agents.
This politician sold out their country, party, former colleagues to advance the interests of a foreign regime.
A traitor in the ranks recruited by a spy network.
We'll call them the A-Team.
Trawling professional networking sites for people with security clearances, contacting them using common names.
Sophie, Amy, Ben and Eric.
Offering rich consultancy fees for secrets. The former politician
even proposed bringing a Prime Minister's family member into the spy's orbit.
Former Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull's son Alex revealing Chinese agents tried to bribe him in 2017. He refused and reported them to authorities. But opposition leader Peter Dutton pointing the finger at Labor.
That'd be where I put my money.
The other question being asked inside here tonight, if ASIO knew this former MP was a traitor, why haven't they been charged and thrown into jail?
Why should a politician who's betrayed their country be able to sit fat, dumb and happy in their house enjoying the fruits of their labour?
Well, they won't face any legal consequences, and I think that is a regret.
Won't, he says, because foreign interference laws weren't in place then, and the laws of treason that were weak. And Mike Burgess says the historic matter's now been dealt with and the person no longer a threat. And a new controversy is erupting here tonight after another freed foreign detainee was arrested yesterday and charged with sexual assault and stalking in Melbourne. But just moments ago, those charges were sensationally withdrawn. The police admitting they'd arrested the wrong man, but not before the opposition had launched a full frontal assault on Immigration Minister Andrew Giles, demanding he resign.
Prime Minister, the Immigration Minister is a disaster. His decisions have put Australians at risk. Prime Minister, does the Minister for Immigration enjoy your full confidence?
Call to the Prime Minister.
Yes.
Police are now looking for another man who 7 News understands is not a released detainee, leaving Peter Dutton with egg on his face as he and the Prime Minister head to Melbourne tomorrow to join the final day of campaigning in the crucial Dunkley by-election.
Mark Riley with the very latest from Canberra. Sydney's gun crime epidemic has spread further, with a man shot twice in the groin during a drive-by attack at Guildford. It happened just 2 days after a deadly shooting in Fairfield Heights. Police are now looking for a trio of men after a car was torched nearby.
A gunman's getaway car turns to a ball of fire.
We just seen this big flame and then every now and then bubble and then just burst.
Seconds earlier, the arsonist is captured in the act, armed with a jerry can, pouring petrol around the Nissan at Carramar. He uses a cigarette lighter before this quick escape.
Just kept on banging and banging.
The car had come from a crime scene in Guildford where a 40-year-old was shot twice in the groin outside his home just after midnight.
I was watching TV and
All of a sudden I heard like 3 gunshots.
A drive-by hit on Donnelly Street. Police also investigating if these 3 men, including one on a scooter, acted as accomplices.
It's very scary because we are international students.
2 men who live with the victim were inside the home when the shooting unfolded, but claim they didn't see or hear anything and have no idea why the 40-year-old was targeted. He only moved in a few months ago and is known to police. This attack isn't believed to be gang-related, but detectives are looking at any potential links from Tuesday's fatal shooting at Fairfield Heights. The riot squad called seizing a bullet casing at Guildford. Annie Puller, 7 News.
The man charged with shooting a Sydney lawyer yesterday is alleged to have been motivated by a grudge against the lawyer's brother. Property solicitor Van Kearney was ambushed in his Castlereagh Street office and wounded in the groin. He's recovering in hospital, while 79-year-old Sinve Vulic was charged with shooting and intent to murder. Mr Kearney's brother Dennis represented Mr Vulic in a legal matter in 1998. Vulic has been remanded in custody to face court in May. It's feared 2 people are dead after a home burst into flames at Lake Macquarie, north of Sydney. The blaze was so fierce it forced firefighters to retreat as walls around them started to collapse.
These are the intense flames that kept firefighters out of a townhouse while 2 people were trapped inside. Around 4 a.m, the blaze ignited.
This is a townhouse. We have 1 person confirmed, unaccounted for.
Firefighters attempted a search and rescue. Neighbours also tried to rush in, but they too were repelled by the heat.
And I've heard like big bangs and then people screaming, that unit over there on fire, big flames and everything, and then I've heard everyone saying, you know, someone's in the unit.
When it was finally extinguished, family arrived and feared the worst.
It's like really traumatising.
There are conflicting accounts of how exactly this fire started. One of the causes, a neighbour tells me, was an electric scooter battery, but detectives haven't ruled out foul play. Investigators spent most of the day outside the home waiting for the crumbled structure to be declared safe, while close neighbours were offered counselling by the social housing landlord.
Clearly upset. Obviously it has affected them, quite frightening. Unfortunately, there was also another neighbour. The unit has been affected and will be providing temporary accommodation for that neighbour.
Tom Saker, 7 News.
2 jet ski riders have crashed into each other on the Hawkesbury River. One left seriously injured. Bill Hogan is at Royal North Shore Hospital this evening. Bill, he's being treated there.
He is, Mark. A man in his early 20s is being treated, or is currently undergoing surgery for serious injuries to his lower body following a nasty crash on the water near Cowan Creek in the Ku-ring-gai National Park around 3:30 this afternoon. The jet skier, he was pulled from the water and treated at the scene by paramedics before it was deemed that he had to be flown here to Royal North Shore Hospital, where he currently remains. Remarkably though, the other rider, he escaped with no injury at all. He is right now speaking with police though as they try and investigate the circumstances that led to this crash. It's certainly not the ideal end to a day on the water, Mark, but it is lucky for both riders that this wasn't deadly.
Bill Hogan at St Leonard's, thank you. Australia's latest contribution to the fight against Houthi rebels in the Red Sea turns out to be just half a dozen ADF specialists. Announced as support for strike action, the 6 extra staff will help plan operations. Critics say it's not enough.
Listing sinking. The British container ship, the Rubimar, the most damaging strike yet from Houthi rebels in the Red Sea waterway that handles 12% of the world's trade. This morning, Defence Minister Richard Marles hitting every breakfast TV show to announce Australia was stepping up its contribution.
In breaking news, more Australian troops will be deployed to the Middle East.
Our total offering? 6 more personnel.
A very important contribution that Australia can make.
For others, that was underwhelming.
I think we should have sent a warship, but we didn't.
Australia's contribution remains underweight.
At last count, the US is leading the Red Sea Alliance with 8 warships. India has 7, Italy 3, even Pakistan has 2. Insiders say the reality is we couldn't send one if we wanted to. 8 frigates, but only enough personnel to crew 5 of them. Just last week, the government announced a major overhaul of the Navy's future operations, expanding the surface fleet from 11 to 26 warships, but admitting it would be years before any new vessels were operational.
A larger Navy with more capability, which is good, but it's going to take too long to get there.
As for the Houthis, a possible own goal with a 19-kilometre oil slick and 41,000 tonnes of fertiliser dumped offshore. Chris Reason, 7 News.
There were fears residents were trapped inside when a house caught fire in Liverpool this morning. By the time firefighters arrived, flames were tearing through the roof and it was beginning to collapse. Crews worked to stop the blaze spreading to a nearby granny flat. Everyone was later accounted for and no one was hurt. Friends of Jesse Baird have revealed he was having serious drama with someone in his life in the lead up to his murder, saying there were warning signs. They're determined to honour the former TV reporter and his partner Luke Davies as much of the city unites in grief.
Jesse Baird loved Coogee Beach, would have loved this day.
We stood there on the beach and we screamed out his name in his honour because that's who Jesse was. He was bold, he was loud, he was happy, he was fun.
And that heightens the profound sense of loss.
Not a lot in life ever got Jesse down.
But something did in the last few weeks of his vibrant, short life.
He said that there had been something not so pleasant going on in his private life.
Some odd things were happening to Jesse over, the period that him and Beau were involved. They weren't in a relationship together.
Police allege Beau Lamar Condon was infatuated with the Channel 10 reporter. Jesse's car had been vandalised and sabotaged.
Jesse couldn't come to see me because mysteriously water came into his car engine and in his fuel.
When behaviours appear to be escalating, we have physical interactions, harm to property, that those are certainly indicators that things could get more serious.
Investigators believe the accused murderer used bullets stolen from a shooting range to avoid suspicion if some were missing from work. The Qantas float in Saturday night's Mardi Gras parade will bear the name of flight attendant Luke Davies. Other tributes are also expected for Jesse.
This man was full of life. He walked into a room and he would just be smiling.
You simply cannot underestimate how deeply the force has felt this. A senior detective tells us the collective effort to find the bodies is something he has never seen before, and not just for the sake of justice, but to show the world what one of their own allegedly did is not who they are. Robert Ovadia, 7 News.
A Sydney council is furious and threatening court action after contractors were given another month to clean up asbestos mulch around the Rozelle interchange. Authorities have been accused of giving in instead of issuing fines.
Workers feeling the heat on a job originally meant to be finished just over an hour ago. As 7 News reported last night, the EPA's deadline to remove the asbestos mulch would not be met. Now it's changed it.
We're shocked that the EPA has rolled over. They should be issuing fines, not extensions.
Transport for New South Wales and its contractors given an extra month.
This is a very big job. It's a big job to do properly. I think that's what's become clear.
Transport insisting, along with extra sites, those near roads are more challenging, needing traffic management.
These people have under-resourced the clean-up effort. If the EPA won't do their job and hold these people to account, then the Inner West Council will.
Inner West Council says its clean-up notice would order the contractors to have the mulch cleared away and have the whole area certified safe and asbestos-free within 2 weeks. And if not, it would look at legal action, even criminal proceedings.
Across Sydney, some contaminated sites are now clear, including schools and hospitals at Cranebrook, Five Dock, Marsden Park, but others are still waiting around Liverpool, Penrith, Westmead, as the clean-up continues at dozens more sites citywide, supermarkets, shopping centres, building sites. A priority, removing the more dangerous friable asbestos from a cluster of inner city parks. Sydney Council saying testing and clean-up could take months. Paul Kadak, 7 News.
The Roosters and Rabbitohs are settling into Vegas tonight. Latrell Mitchell likening the atmosphere to grand final week. During an exclusive interview with 7 News, the South Star conceded he's trying to keep a lid on his excitement ahead of Sunday's historic doubleheader.
They say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Perfect for those accustomed to life in the Rugby League fishbowl.
Just to come here and
people not really know who we are. It's good to just walk around and be yourself, and that's an eye-opener. It's humbling as well.
South and the Roosters joined Manly in Sin City today, welcomed by Penrith's Tyson Pedro, a UFC fighter and Panthers tragic.
I know a lot of the boys already. I've actually danced on stage with Cookie at the Wiggles, so we're pretty close.
The type of atmosphere to bring out the best in a player who thrives on the big stage.
Feels like a magic round to me for or a grand final.
You're up and about for the game,
yeah,
aren't
I'm
you?
buzzing. I'm ready to go. I'm trying to keep a lid on it.
A lot of external talk and hype about it, but we got to stay focused and not sort of get caught up in the flashy lights.
I was waiting for it just to go dark, so hopefully that sun keeps going and we can see what Las Vegas is really like.
The NRL's sell to America is the sheer toughness of the competition. The hits are brutal, the game is fast, there's no pads
and no helmets.
Allegiant Stadium is now officially in rugby league mode. Lines marked on the $3 billion stadium's retractable grass field that slides into place on game day. In Las Vegas, Jaleesa Raps, 7 News.
The leap year gave us one more day of summer and it delivered a scorcher. In Sydney, it was hottest in the west, the temperature soaring to 40.2 degrees at Olympic Park just after 3. Today's heat capping off a summer that was warmer and wetter than most.
Diving in for one final dip during one final summer scorcher.
It is so hot. It's like 40-something degrees.
Not quite at Coogee, though the last day of the season did dish up 40 degrees across the city's west. It was Penrith's hottest February day since 2019.
These are temperatures that we have seen in the past, but we haven't seen these temperatures this late in summer before.
Australia on track for its third warmest summer on record, while here in Sydney we sweltered through warmer than average summer nights, daytime temperatures also hotter by around 2.5 degrees.
I think it's the first year I'd really wanted air conditioning.
Despite an El Nino and fears of bushfires, the city is 50 millimetres over its average summer rainfall, and no surprise, it was muggier too.
When the sea surface temperature around Australia is warmer than normal, it tends to put a lot of moisture in the atmosphere.
The outlook for autumn is also warmer and drier than usual, though forecasters warn the upcoming season is notoriously tricky to predict.
Autumn and spring can bring some of the most changeable up and down weather.
Even today, from heat to hail, summer storms sweeping the west, bringing trees down at Warrington.
Any storms should push through pretty quickly and it will crank up in terms of heat once again.
Amber Laidler, 7 News.
Time for the latest now with Angie Asimus. Angie, not many places avoided that heat today.
Mark, temperatures soared up to 10 degrees above average and plenty of inland suburbs hit 40 degrees, including Richmond, Liverpool, Bankstown, even 37 further east at Terry Hills, and 35 on the beach at Cronulla. With that intense build-up, the storms formed, clouds darkened over Western Sydney this afternoon, and we've already seen some hail come down near Penrith. Temperatures have started to drop, but it won't be until later this evening that we really see a cool change, shifting winds from the north to the south. That change is what's fueling the showers and storms. The warning area stretches from the upper west right down to the metro region tonight. I will have an update on those cells a little bit later. Mark.
See you then, Angie. Thank you. A quick fix to end Sydney's classroom shortage. After the break, the school upgrades that take just weeks to build. We'll see where we'll see them next. Cars flip in a spectacular crash. Incredibly, everyone escaped. A court defeat for Prince Harry impacting his ability to return home. Later, Cameron Green's heroic ton on a wild day in Wellington, and a roadside landing in a hot air balloon emergency. Welcome back. It was very lucky no one was seriously injured when two cars collided on the Hume Highway near Campbelltown last night. One of the vehicles flipped onto its roof, spilling debris all over the road. Westbound lanes were closed until the mess was cleared up. The state government is set to tackle a shortage of schools in fast-growing residential regions with a series of prefabricated buildings. Like kit homes, the schools are designed and built off-site and can be put together in a matter of weeks.
A factory for classrooms produced in bulk, packed and then delivered to schools.
It is generally flat pack, you could say.
It can take up to 4 years to build a school.
And in these spaces, we've also got any available executive or learning and support.
From delivery to completion, these classrooms at Oran Park Public School were built in 8 weeks.
What's this a picture of? A mouse.
The new speedy solution to the classroom shortage.
We're facing population explosions where we desperately need to build the schools.
More than 30 new and upgraded prefab schools are planned in Sydney at Olympic Park, Box Hill, Jordan Springs, Gregory Hills, Schofields and Leppington.
We are using the same materials we would use in a traditional construction approach, but we're just doing it in a far more efficient way.
The state government claims this is not only a faster way to build, but better bang for bucks. Expected to be up to 20% cheaper, saving taxpayers millions of dollars. Under Sydney's stormy skies, it'll also mean less chance of construction sites being washed out. Amy Clements, 7 News.
There was a rocky ending to a hot air balloon ride in Melbourne this morning. The pilot tried to make an emergency landing on a vacant block in the city's northeast, but a gust of wind picked the basket up, throwing it into a tree. The 9 passengers on board thankfully weren't hurt. Prince Harry has lost a legal challenge to have royal-level security provided for him and his family when they're in the UK. The decision has exposed warnings the Duke and Duchess of Sussex were given before they quit royal life.
Prince Harry's new video.
It is such a privilege to honour the immense courage and compassion.
Speaking on behalf of a UK charity from California. His trips to Britain rare after his right to automatic taxpayer-funded protection was stripped 4 years ago.
Short notice that security was going to be removed.
When the Sussexes quit royal life, Harry's lawyers claimed that was unlawful and unfair, concerned about threats from Al-Qaeda after the Duke revealed his Taliban kill count in his book Spare, and mindful of tragic incidents of the past. The UK government argued decisions on the Sussexes' security would be bespoke and made on a case-by-case basis because he isn't a full-time working member of the royal family. The court agreed. Despite this latest legal setback, the Duke has vowed to keep fighting, his lawyers saying he hopes to obtain justice from England's Court of Appeal as doubts are cast over future visits to the UK by Harry and his family. The Duke spent barely 24 hours in England to see his cancer-stricken father, with little prospect of a return soon. In London, Hugh Whitfield, 7 News.
Hundreds of Sydney hospital workers walk off the job. Up next, the fight for free parking reaches breaking point. She's the lady who vanished. Now a coroner has revealed what really happened to Marion Barter. A big change to driver's licences, closing a demerit points loophole. The death of a comedy favourite who found stardom twice.
And in sport, Manly superstar Tommy Turbo's reaction to being likened to Taylor Swift's other half, Travis Kelce.
Welcome back. Hospital workers have walked off the job around Sydney, angry over the cost of staff parking. With some car parks more than doubling fees, workers say that has now halved their recent pay rise.
Hospital workers walking out for a better deal in the car park.
What do we want? Fair parking! When do we want it? Now!
It's just a joke. This is how you look after your staff.
Stop works at 16 Sydney hospitals prompted by this week's rise in the cost of hospital parking.
For some workers, we're seeing an increase of 127% in their car parking fees.
More than $2,500 annually to park at work. Free for staff during the pandemic, the government says that was temporary.
Many of these private operators do charge exorbitant prices for their car parking. It's less than ideal.
Radiation therapist Courtney O'Brien spends 2 hours daily driving from Newcastle to Westmead, then can't afford to park there.
I currently have to park about 3 kilometres away from the hospital and walk in every day, which is about an extra half an hour, which I then have to add to my commute.
A protest that's calling out the Minns government, saying pay rises offered to hospital workers have been chewed up by the cost of parking.
We just got a pay rise and now half it's going to go into the car park.
That's when they're not already full.
We are in a situation, unfortunately, where there just aren't enough car spaces to go around.
The union is vowing more industrial action. Chris Marr, 7 News.
A lengthy inquest has finally reached its conclusion into what happened to Marion Barter, the woman featured in the hit podcast The Lady Vanishes. The teacher disappeared back in 1997, with her daughter searching for her ever since.
Sally Layden had the support of dozens of loved ones as a coroner today confirmed what she's known all along.
Coroner's just told me officially my mum's deceased. So that's the first time I've heard that in 27 years.
Her mother, Marion Barter, disappeared in 1997 after changing her name, selling her house and quitting her job. She'd been dating a man named Rick Bloom who lied about his identity. Today, Coroner Teresa O'Sullivan found the pair travelled to the UK, returning without telling Marion's family. She found Bloom preyed on vulnerable women and withheld crucial information about Marion from the inquest. She also found New South Wales Police bungled the missing persons investigation, recommending it now be referred to homicide detectives.
I haven't even had an apology, if I can put it out there. You know, I still haven't from the police had any apology for how I've been treated.
Today's findings mark the end of one fight and the beginning of another for Sally Layden. She's now determined to find out exactly how, when, where and why her mother died and plans to fly overseas in her search for answers.
It just doesn't stop just because we got an answer today from the coroner.
Jodie Lee, 7 News.
All drivers with foreign licences will now be forced to convert to a New South Wales licence within 6 months of moving here. The state government has closed a loophole which saw thousands of drivers racking up demerit points while remaining virtually untouchable.
There were some drivers flouting the law. That option is now off the table.
One driver accrued more than 35 demerit points and police could do nothing about it. Joe Biden has passed his annual health check, now hoping that'll put an end to questions about his age. But the president's opponents are quick to point out it did not include a cognitive test, and that's where the real concern lies.
In campaign mode and with a spring in his step, America's oldest ever president heading to hospital. Joe Biden's annual checkup finding the 81-year-old healthy, active and robust, adding he remains fit for duty, with doctors identifying no new concerns.
I think I look too young. No, there is something.
Like last year though, today there was no cognitive test. It's not part of a standard presidential physical. But after a special counsel report described Biden as a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory, calls for one have been growing.
The president doesn't need a cognitive test. That is the assessment of the president's doctor. The president passes, again, a cognitive test every day.
Biden's age has thrust the issue firmly back in the spotlight. At 82, Mitch McConnell, the long-serving Republican Senate leader, today announcing he'll leave his post this year.
One of life's most underappreciated talents is to know when it's time to move on.
Under pressure from Trump-aligned factions within his own party and months after his own health battles, a concussion and this, a public freezing episode.
Okay, Mitch.
He'll still remain in the Senate until well after his 85th birthday. In the United States, David Woywood, 7 News.
Actor and comedian Richard Lewis has died. He rose to fame for his dark and self-deprecating stand-up routines, becoming a late-night TV favourite during the 1980s and 90s. He found stardom all over again with a regular supporting role on Curb Your Enthusiasm.
It's a self-portrait. That's you? What do you think a self-portrait means? Yeah, that's me. That's like you from 50 years ago. No, this is me now.
Last year, Lewis revealed he had Parkinson's disease. He died after suffering a heart attack in his LA home. He was 76. 15 couples said I do at Pyrmont Registry today, either tying the knot or renewing their vows on what was a leap year day. They say time flies when you're having fun, and that's certainly true for Ryan and Kate. They're 4 years down, but technically only married for 1 year.
It's been a bit stressful in the lead up, so I actually didn't even think how it was our anniversary until we got here. But it is actually really wonderful to be able to celebrate with our friends and family.
Many congratulations to all the happy couples. A classic car show with a stunning backdrop. Just ahead, an exclusive first look at a rare collection. The Aussie study unlocking the secret to a good night's sleep. A fresh new look for an Aussie airline, but what about those flight delays?
And in sport, the legendary Kathy Freeman parties with the Matildas as our Golden Girls book their ticket to Paris.
Tonight's edition of The Nightly is out now. Australia's only digital newspaper to drop nightly. And it's free. Delivered to your pocket every weeknight. Spend your night wisely. Free at thenightly.com.au.
Welcome back. The number of Australians with eating disorders has climbed by more than 20% over the last decade. A new report from the Butterfly Foundation has labelled the trend a crisis.
Apart from anything else, they're costing our economy $67 billion a year, with 1.1 million people affected. But beyond that, it's collapsing families.
The federal and state governments are being called on to act. $100 million worth of exotic cars have been shipped very carefully by barge to the heart of Sydney Harbour. They're now sitting on an island as part of a world-first display. And we have this exclusive first look.
An elite fleet of the finest machines taken by barge to Cockatoo Island.
A lot of manpower, a lot of effort and a lot of logistics has gone into creating this.
Sydney Harbour, the backdrop for a show-stopping spectacle this weekend, the Concours d'Elegance. It's the first time ever it will be held on an island. A competition to judge the rare, expensive and most beautiful.
And show the quality of cars that we have in Australia.
Take this Porsche roof. Ryan Gosling has taken it for a spin. This bean will be driven from London to Melbourne in September by Warren Brown, a reenactment of this century-old trip.
It's an incredible distance, isn't it? You couldn't think it'd be done, but it was done in 1927-28, and I'm going to redo it again. People think I'm mad. Oh, they're probably right.
The collection will include 75 vehicles. They have a price tag of more than $100 million. But to car fans, a historic value that's priceless.
What we have here are artworks that do move. Some of these cars are irreplaceable.
Angelique Opie, 7 News.
Jetstar is embarking on a makeover with new uniforms. It's the first time the budget carrier has updated its dress code in its 20-year history.
Our crew were giving us a lot of feedback about what they wanted changed, so we've co-designed this with Genevieve, Smart and our crew.
But the airline says there's still more work to do to catch up to Rex, Bonza and Qantas when it comes to on-time performance. Jetstar is also calling for more female pilots and engineers. Time to check finance now with Angela Cox. Ange, our market hit an all-time high at one stage today.
That's right, Mark. Better than expected results from Harvey Norman helped, the ASX closing 38 points higher. Shares in the furniture retailer jumped after Gerry Harvey told investors he's confident of an extended rebound. Gains for JB Hi-Fi too. Bitcoin surged on worries about the US fiscal position. Iron ore prices still sliding. And new data confirmed the retail bounce back after a dip in December. Sales figures rose 1.1% in January as Australians went shopping again. Consumers took advantage of discounting with clothing and footwear, housing goods and department stores up most. Mark.
Ange, thank you. 20 minutes to unlock the perfect night's sleep. Still to come, a scientific study of thousands of Australians, and now the results are in. What you can do well before bedtime to make a real difference. Don't miss that story soon on 7 News. But first, Mel is here with sport. And Mel, the Aussies and the NRL are taking over Vegas.
That's right, Fergo. The party is underway. Thousands of fans and former players are gathering just days out from kickoff, live to Las Vegas for all the latest. Next, including the $3 billion stadium, switching to NRL mode as footy fever Aussie style hits Sin City. And Cam Green, the only Aussie to tame the green monster, a potentially career-defining ton on day one in Wellington. Welcome back. Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas has been reconfigured for Sunday's historic NRL doubleheader that starts with South versus Manly. A relaxed Tom Trbojevic today laughed off comparisons to Taylor Swift's partner Travis Kelce.
Battle lines drawn.
NFL Super Bowl markings replaced by NRL side and try lines, sliding under Allegiant Stadium ready for Sunday's doubleheader, the field. Slightly smaller than a rugby league ground, but that doesn't faze Tom Trbojevic.
And then the field that we've been training on here is the same dimension, so I don't think it changes too much. I think if you overthink it, you can bring you undone.
A niggle playing on Luke Brooks's mind, but Manly's new recruit won't go public.
Yeah, something minor, but yeah, I'm all good to go.
Can you tell us what it is?
No.
He's our new shiny toy, so they're just putting him in cotton wool.
The Trbojevic family in Vegas to watch Ben, Tom and Jake play together overseas for the first time. American reporters comparing the trio to Taylor Swift's partner Travis Kelce and NFL playing brother Jason.
I think we're all Jason, aren't we? None of us are Travis, but yeah, look, it's hard to answer that.
Manly's top-paid superstar not tempted by Sin City.
Oh no, I'm no gambler, mate. Don't have enough money to gamble. I'm walking off on that.
Andrew McKinlay, 7 News.
We go live now to Jaleesa Apps in Las Vegas. Hello, Jaleesa. It looks like the Aussies are taking over.
Yeah, they certainly are, Mel. At the start of the week, it felt like the NRL was really not even a blimp on the radar here in Vegas. Now it feels like no matter where you go, you either run into an NRL player, an NRL fan, or an ex-player. I'm actually at the top of the Mandalay Bay at the moment, where Manly have been holding a function with a bunch of their fans, and there's been a few NRL players in the crowd, and I caught up with Steve Menzies a little earlier.
To be involved with the first one, it's just a huge opportunity. The product we have as rugby league is, it's a special product, and I think Americans are going to love it. So to showcase that the first is a huge chance.
Mel, they're having a lot of fun here. It is almost midnight here in Las Vegas, and they've been going for about 4 hours now, so plenty of party left in them yet. But we saw the Roosters and we saw the Rabbitohs fly in today. We'll see the Broncos come in tomorrow, and it definitely feels like the countdown to the NRL Vegas experiment is on.
Midnight in Vegas. Good luck with that, Jaleesa. Have a good night. Selectors recalled Cameron Green when David Warner retired from Test, and today he repaid that faith, rescuing Australia with an unbeaten century in the series opener against New Zealand. Batting at number 4 on a Wellington green top, the all-rounder guided the visitors to 9 for 279.
Golden boy Cameron Green rescues Australia.
There it is, punched away backward a point. That is 4, that is 100, his second in Test matches.
2 Test tons, plenty to celebrate, but the big all-rounders team first.
Obviously feels really good. I think mainly just for where we are with the team.
On a Wellington green top, brilliant black cap bowling put the tourists in the red. Steve Smith gone for 31.
Edge and take it. New Zealand have their first.
Opening partner Usman Khawaja followed for 33.
Oh, yes! What a ripper from Henry.
Marnus Labuschagne and Travis Head both undone for 1 each. The collapse costing Australia 4 for 28. Green counterpunched, going from 30 to 100 in just 46 balls. This unbeaten 103, his highest Test score since being promoted to number 4, but Australia's 9 for 279, not enough.
Pretty close. I reckon they're probably just on top. They've got obviously a pretty quality batting lineup, and we've got to bowl well tomorrow.
Nick Markham, 7 News.
Just going to the Olympics isn't enough for the Matildas. They know Paris is the last chance for this golden generation to do something special. Last night's 10-0 rout of Uzbekistan secured qualification.
In the delirium of Olympic qualification, a moment to cherish. Kathy Freeman joining the Matildas on Marvel Stadium. The Aussie icon and her Tilly's mad daughter Ruby, part of the 54,000 plus on hand to see them punch their ticket to Paris.
It's so nice to be on home soil to celebrate with the rest of Australia, because the amount of support we've had in the last year has been absolutely incredible.
The return leg against Uzbekistan was embarrassingly lopsided.
Oh, surely, here it is, Hayden.
Recalled striker Michelle Heyman scored 4 goals in the 10-0 demolition.
When I looked at Tony after the third one, he was smiling, and I think I even said, "I've got 5 in me, like, hold on."
With 6 goals in the 2 games, the 35-year-old's come back after a 6-year exile, an inspiring story of perseverance.
Never give up. A lot of people told me that I couldn't do it, you're too old, so it's really nice.
Paris looms as the last major tournament hurrah for the generation that's made the Matildas one of our best-loved teams.
Most of us have been together for, 10 plus years, and we've always fallen a bit short, so it could be our last major tournament. So I think, to go out with a bang would be pretty amazing for all of us. The kings of the NBL have been dethroned. Sydney's quest for a title three-peat ended at the hands of the New Zealand Breakers in last night's play-in qualifier. Parker Jackson Cartwright's game-high 34 points got the Kiwis home 83-76.
Good nice! Parker Jackson Cartwright silences Kudos Bank Arena.
The Breakers now face another sudden death game against the Illawarra Hawks. So bad luck for the Kings. Jubilation for the Matildas. They're off to Paris. What a special night that was in Melbourne. And, of course, to be a fan in Vegas right now.
Midnight in Vegas. It sounds fun, doesn't it?
What could go wrong?
Thank you, Mel.
Thanks.
Now to a report that might have you rethinking your bedtime routine. Special devices fitted to almost 3,000 Australians have unlocked the secret to a perfect sleep. And it all begins long before you hit the hay.
For Suzanne Courier, getting a good night's sleep can be a nightmare. She's tried just about everything.
A warm shower, reading, counting sheep. Doesn't work.
Suzanne's not alone. Experts say that's because the secret to a good night's sleep begins well before bedtime.
It seems that how we structure our day may influence how well we sleep at night.
Using special devices to monitor 1,400 adults and 1,200 children, Australian researchers have found exercise holds the key.
We think that physical activity has physiological changes, releases hormone serotonin, which has mood-boosting effects.
The higher intensity, the better. Just 20 minutes is enough at any time of day.
People who are more active seem to experience less tiredness.
Something young mum Nancy Mustragia-Como can relate to.
If I've had a busy day and my daily schedule was jam-packed with things, I find that I'm more exhausted and I want to go to sleep earlier, and therefore I do sleep better.
And the same works in reverse. In fact, going to bed early can be a curse by leading to poor sleep quality.
To do 20 minutes of vigorous exercise to get the benefit of being able to go to sleep quickly, I would definitely try it.
Ashley Kanowski, 7 News.
Now, Angie's back with the weather. Ange, the final day of summer has been a memorable one.
Sure has, Mark. 40 plus degrees in Sydney and now severe storms. I'll have all the latest warnings next. Tonight, name and shame the traitor Polly, the defence expert demanding to know who betrayed the country. Labor's big litmus test, Dunkley votes this weekend. Our weekly panel weighs in. And a golden ticket to a nightmare, an immersive Willy Wonka experience leaves kids in tears. The latest from 7 News after the front bar.
Tonight's 7 News headlines. There's growing pressure on ASIO to name the former politician who sold secrets to foreign spies. Police are hunting 3 suspects after a man was shot in Guildford with a car torched nearby. And Cameron Green has rescued Australia with an unbeaten century in the first test against New Zealand in Wellington. Now here's Angie with the latest on Sydney's very warm weather.
Thank you very much, Mark. Temperatures really soared today. That heat has been tracking east for days and finally it hit the coast this afternoon. The CBD reached 33 for maximum, but the apparent temperature at that time was 37 degrees. So there really was no escaping that heat today. 40 degrees for quite a few metro suburbs further inland: Parramatta, Penrith, Richmond, Liverpool, Fairfield and Bankstown. Extreme heat with high humidity. Thunderstorm warnings are in place now. We have a trough positioned over central to northern New South Wales this evening, and that system is fueling those cells. The warning area does include the metro region. A cold front crossing the south as well as that trough over the middle of our state will trigger a southerly change as well as the storms. That's going to impact the southern half of the coastline first before weakening on the Hunter coast by tomorrow morning. evening. So around the capitals, it is looking milder, a top of 29 degrees forecast for Adelaide, Melbourne 26, Hobart 24, all nice and settled. Canberra remains fine but still hot, 32 degrees, 31 forecast for Brisbane. Darwin to see storms, 33. Perth is the hot one again, 34 degrees and sunny. Statewide, that heat pushes a little bit further north, 41 degrees expected at Moree, 39 on the way for Tamworth. Isolated showers and storms over much of the state. That cooler change won't have a lasting impact on southern centres. Temperatures still well above average. Zooming in on the metro region, partly cloudy tomorrow. We could see a shower or storm in the mix with those cooler winds tending south to southeasterly. Even still, tops will remain in the 30s for most paths. Penrith 33, above average, but at least 7 down on today. On the water, south to southwesterly winds at first. Strong wind warnings are in place for Sydney waters, shifting back to the nor'-nor'east in the afternoon. Back in the CBD, even though we are expecting that cool change tonight, it will really only take the edge off. The forecast low is still 22, a top of 30, partly cloudy for the first day of autumn. Ahead, a more significant change moves through on the weekend, bringing some showers. Heaviest falls for Saturday. Grey and cool Monday, Tuesday. Well, Wednesday and Thursday at this stage looking pretty good, fine and warm. But for now, we can officially say goodbye to summer, Mark.
Another summer done and dusted.
Been a big one.
Angie, thank you. Before we go, here's a look at 2 stories we have for you tomorrow night.
In 7 News, Sydney's petrol supercycle. Prices spiking more than 50 cents a litre.
Huge differences, and not just within suburbs, sometimes within streets.
The cheapest fuel at the touch of a button. And a health warning on makeup brushes affecting skin and eyes. The simple step to avoid it. 7 News at 6.
That is 7 News for this Thursday. We'll have updates for you throughout the evening. I'm Mark Ferguson from all the team. I hope you have a great night.
Stream 7 News anytime, live and on demand on 7 Plus. And with 7news.com.au, you'll know the news now.